All
All
right.
right, guys. So welcome another Sunday Blitz. Nick's gonna get into it. He's gonna hop in, show some news, so show some charts. During the call, if you guys want to qualify, we always do a giveaway. If you want to qualify, just post on your IG story, tag the funded trader, tag Forex League, and one person will be selected the winner at the end. So I'll pass over to Nick. Here you go.
Nice. Easy enough giveaway. Definitely get in on that. But let's kick this off with some news, guys. So, as we just covered, Thursday is Thanksgiving, so rest of the market or the rest of the week is going to be pretty dead after that. But leading up to it, we have a couple red folders. Nothing too crazy. We have some PMI, we have some rate statements out of NZ, a lot of NZ news. Probably not going to have too much weight. This is more going to be dependent on what actually goes down. Yeah, if you want more information on this, you can kind of open up the folder. And as you could see, the usual effect all depends on if they're hawkish or dovish, and that'll give some sort of short-term impact to the market. But again, we'll have to see what they say. Not expecting too much out of that. That's early Tuesday. Oh no, that's late night Tuesday. I'm sorry. Monday, we don't have anything. Wednesday, again, here's the PMI. So French flash services PMI, German flash manufacturing PMI, another one. And then we have some GBP news, more PMI. So pretty much all PMI and then FOMC meeting minutes. So there's not going to be too much from this one. This is just the meeting. So it's more just like a recap on things. Usually that's not like the first presentation to the public about what's going on. It's just like the follow-up meeting. So nothing too much to worry about on that out of the dollar. But just as PMI news. So again, if you want to read more about what PMI is, you can open it up. You could see what they're looking for, how this is, interpreted based on the previous, based on the forecast, and then how the actual could impact the market. So it's pretty interesting stuff. Obviously we always say if there's high impact news or something that's really gonna, create a high volume day, like FOMC or, NFP. So something like that, you want to be aware of those. Definitely don't trade them. And that's what, checking the news is good for. Just be aware of that, see what's in store for the week ahead, and then plan accordingly. So again, yeah, not too much news this week, but we already are expecting it to be kind of dead, being the holiday and all. And that's going to be the trend pretty much for the rest of the year. We'll see a little bit of the market kick up again after Thanksgiving, running into like the week before Christmas, and then it'll die out again until the new year. And that's because of the same factors that we just explained. All right, so let's jump over to some charts, guys. I'm going to first go over to DXY. And I'm going to take you guys through my method. So the first, approach to this, my strategy is we're going to go to the higher time frame, going to identify the overall trend, drop to the 4-hour, and then come up with some scenarios for there. Now, I'm a swing trader, so I'm always really considering the 4-hour trend above all, because this time frame to me highlights what the potential movement for this next week is going to be. Okay, so that's where I'm really, honing in on the swing trading strategy. But then there are some special scenarios where I'll drop down to more of a day trader approach. And that's usually on counter trend trade positions. So I'll cover that. There are a couple special examples that we'll get into. But we're going to start off with DXY, just with the swing trading strat. Okay, so like I said, we're going to go to the daily time frame, clear up all the drawing tools. And all we really need, again, from the daily is the overall trend. And you should be able to identify that just by knowing, what characteristics are in a bullish trend, what characteristics are in a bearish trend. Okay, so let's go through it. So let's start back here. Let's just follow this story of price action. We're moving higher. We got our first higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. And then we started consolidating and bouncing a little bit here. We got a second touch and then some lower highs. So we actually broke this higher low with this conviction here. See these bearish candles, guys? See how it pushed below this higher low here? Now we're looking like it's a change of trend. So it's looking more bearish now. The only thing we need is a confirmed lower high below this higher low. Okay, and that's a perfect transition from a bullish trend to a bearish trend. Take out a higher low, see a lower high below it, and then we're confirmed bearish. Okay, so it's looking like that now, right? It's definitely setting up. We're yet to see the lower high, but we're aware of it. So it's looking more bearish. Let's now go to the 4-hour, bring our tools on, and just make more sense of what the immediate price action is doing for this week, okay? So here we are, price action's falling. Here was that, we took out 110, right? That was the level where that higher low was. Took that out. Also took out 1085. We fell to a new low just above the support level, right? Just above 105.25, and we're consolidating. So this was all last week, right? We fell the week prior, then we spent all this time consolidating, which is good. I mean, you don't want to see this type of volume continue where it pushes down, then it pushes up, then back down. You can't really trade that, unless you have some crazy wick entry strategy. It's really not worth it. There's a lot of risk there. So you want to see normal market conditions. In order to get those normal market conditions, you have to wait for some sort of consolidation and then the next move, the next impulse, right? So that's what we're trying to spot here. We're consolidating at the low. It'd be really nice to see this pop up, hit 38.2, form a lower high, confirm structure, all in this area. And this is a nice little confluence area, meaning that there's a lot of resistance supporting that this idea, right? We have 1085. We have 38.2, which is our, structure area. And this would be really nice with some nice bearish variations. And then we could confidently say, all right, the dollar's looking bearish for this week, and we'll take that into consideration on our tradable pairs, right? Because again, this is just the dollar, guys. It's just showing us the dollar strength. And we want to use this more or less as an indicator, right? We want to be aware of the overall trend, whatever the dollar is doing, because it makes up for 80% of all trade, and then use that to our advantage on the tradable pairs. And so we could see, right, if we're expecting the dollar to be bearish for this week ahead, or at least, if it was a full week, it would look a little more, hopeful where this would push up. We'd have normal volume, then it would come back down, and then we could, short the dollar on, tradable pairs again, AU and so on, UJ. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Again, it's probably gonna be a slow week, but this is what we'd like to see ideally to happen. All right, so that's DXY. We have that one. Let's move over to AU, the first pair we can trade. And we're going to apply the same method. Clear up the chart, go to the daily time frame, and identify the trend. Okay, so let's just follow price action. Right, we started moving lower here. We hit a low, got a lower high, lower low, lower high, huge drop off to a lower low. Then we got this lower high here. It rejected. Right, it looked like it was going to commit and push to a new low, but it didn't. Instead, we broke through that lower high, and now it's looking more bullish on AU. But similar to what we just saw on DXY, actually the inverse, we're yet to see structure above, this this lower high here. So we need a higher low here to confirm this new bullish trend, and then we're off on the daily. It looks like it's coming back now. So let's go to the 4-hour and get a closer look as to what's happening here. All right, so here's the 4-hour. Where is the break? Where is the break? All right, 0.655, guys, right? Pushed up. This was the lower high. Came back down, pushed through, finally broke right there. And now we're at a high. So we have a higher high here on the 4-hour. Definitely looking bullish on the 4-hour. Could be kind of some, this is kind of looking like a head and shoulders, but this is a bit lower than we would like. Either way, it's kind of highlighting a potential reversal, right? Where we have a high, then we have a new high, push back down, lower high, right? Failing to push higher. So it's kind of symbolizing or telling us that it's going to reverse to some degree, which is kind of in the cards for us, right? We want that to happen, right? Because 61.8 is right down here, 0.655, good confluence area. This would be ideal for us. Price action drops, rejects off this level, could spend a little bit of time there. Overall, we want to confirm that higher low, and then we could enter long. And we have a pretty good trade just marked up roughly. This is always going to slightly vary depending on where that price action confirmation comes in. Could be slightly lower, right? And then you could have a tighter stop, could be slightly higher. You'll have to see. And then according to your own rules, what is worth taking and what's not. To me, I won't take a trade unless it's at least 2-to-1 risk reward. Meaning if I risk 1%, I'm going to get at least 2% back. Okay, so this one's 3-to-1. So that's obviously well above what I'm looking for. And we're targeting to get 140, looking to risk 40. So will slightly vary, but it looks like it's within our parameters as of right now. Okay, so that's one scenario. That would be super ideal, very clean break and retest. The other scenario is this just rallies now. Let's say it just pushes above our resistance right here at 0.67. If that does happen, we really need to see higher lows above to even begin entertaining the idea of longing at these highs. Okay, if you do get a beautiful break and retest, by all means, take the trade, but you'll need to see a really good example. Okay, so that's one. I mean, that's the swing trading examples of, both bullish scenarios, but there is something else I want to cover with you guys here on the 1 hour. So this is kind of like the intraday trade setup that I was talking about earlier, where if you see something play out really clear on the 1 hour and it commits to like a 1 hour bearish trend here, there's so much room to fall to our next zone and to form that 4 hour structure that you could actually get a pretty good trade. Right, so let's go ahead and draw this zone is, because this looks like a neckline. Let's pretend this is a head and shoulders. This is the supporting zone. So ideally, you want to see a break below that. I'll just use this drawing tool, the brush tool, why not? We need a break below, some sort of retest, and then a nice lower high there. So you're looking to essentially play the 4 hour retrace back down to the support level. Okay, so it's going to look like a sell down to 0.655 and then a buy off of 655. Okay. If you guys have any questions on this, by the way, just drop in chat. I'll answer them when I'm done, or if Angelo gets to them. But essentially, we're looking for this little counter trend trade, and hopefully it also fits our rules. So it's just over 2 to 1. Roughly, this is where it would execute if we did get the lower high. And there you go. You'd have 2% down, and then if this plays out, you're looking for roughly 3.5% to the upside. So we do have some scenarios, but we'll have to see how price action reacts this week. Okay, because we are expecting some low volume anyway. All right, but that's AU. Not bad. Got some setups there. Let's go ahead and roll over to AJ. And we're going to do the same thing. Very methodical, guys. Nothing crazy. All right, just a good system that works. That's all we need. All right, so daily time frame. Let's zoom out. Overall trend. What is it here on the daily? All right. So let's just follow price action. So back here is the start of this rally. This is back in March. So we started rallying, big impulse to the upside. We hit a high, came back down, got a higher low. Now we're confirming the new bullish trend, pushing up to a higher high, higher low. Spent some time in consolidation here, rally to a new high, reverse from there, came back. And now we're still in consolidation. Even from this chart, you guys can see this resistance level here. Look at all these highs that we're touching, right? One, or there's like 6 in there actually. Bunch here, right at 95.5. And then same with support. All these touches on the downside of support, right at the 92 level. So even from the daily, you can see that this is in serious consolidation, but overall bullish still. So that's really all we need. Let's go to the 4 hour now and see what's in store for the week ahead based on price action. All right, so we have, let me just zoom out to give you guys some perspective. This is the consolidation. This is the range. These two zones are what we're focused on. 91 is support, 94.75 as resistance. Okay. So that's the larger range from the daily time frame. And then here on the 4 hour, we have a little bit of tighter consolidation between 94.75 and 93 support. So it's kind of in the upper half zone of this total range, right? So we've been bouncing, we've been seeing some lower highs form. Price action's getting smacked back into 93 support. So really, what do we do? What do we do going into this week? Our eyes are already at 93 support. So let's just mark it up for a break or bounce, right? That's what we're going to look for. It's the most ideal scenarios. And it's also the most likely, right? Scenario 2 here, let's just cover first, is that we just continue to range, right? Who's to say we don't bounce, just comes back up, continues to bounce from there, right? Very likely to happen. The other scenario is we actually break 93 support. Finally, this level gives out. We see a lower low followed by a lower high. Good, clean structure, classic break and retest. And then we're short from there, right? So we're looking to enter on that lower high after it confirms through, a bearish variation. So 3 strong candles in a row, evening star, engulfing over on the 1 hour. That's what we're looking for to confirm this 4 hour lower high. And then we're in on that. And this is a pretty big distance due to prior volume, but it presents a really good trade. So we have 175 pips that we're targeting, and we're risking about 50. So it comes in about 3.5% or 3.5 to 1. Right, which isn't bad at all. If you're risking 1%, you get 3.5 off a trade. You're doing something right. You're a really good trader then, right? Or if 2%, you get 7% back. It's phenomenal. It's basically a challenge passer at that point. So, we're gonna wait on that. Again, I'm not gonna jump the gun. I'm not gonna just short it as this is falling. I'm gonna wait for the break, wait for the confirmed lower high, and then we're in. Right, pretty straightforward, but we're gonna need to see a lot. Maybe if it doesn't happen this week, if we do just continue to, like, let's say we flatline for the rest of this week and we don't really see much out of the zone, this bearish trade is still valid, right? For the next week, because who's to say we're not going to break 93 then? Right? As long as we don't get too far away from this zone on a bounce or something, these trades are just going to carry over into the next week. Okay. So that's AJ. Let's go over to UJ. It's not the best looking chart, but we do have something. Let's zoom out a little bit. Same thing. Let's follow the method. Daily time frame. All right. Let's just follow price action here. So where'd the rally start? This was the start of the impulse back in March. Again, started rallying. We got the higher high there, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Right, and now it's coming back for a higher low. This was just such a large move that this was able to pull back so much and still be bearish. But look to the past here. This is clearly at support, right at 139. This is where this prior high was. Now we're back testing it, right, as support. So this is going to be interesting. But let's drop to the 4 hour and see what we could spot on this time frame. Okay, so here is that zone. Let me zoom out a little bit. Right, so this is the zone that's really the make or break for the daily trend. As long as we're above 137, it has the potential to continue bullish on the daily time frame. But if we break below 137, this is in, critical condition. This thing is going to fall off a cliff potentially. Right, so we're waiting for that. But until we actually break 137, we're just going to keep, playing what we see. So let's get a closer look now that we've identified the key zones. Let's see what happened. So what happened here on the 4 hour? We saw this ascending triangle where pretty much support was at 145, and then we're getting lower high after lower high after lower high, strongly suggesting that we're going to break lower. And it did, right? Huge volume, tanked UJ all the way to a new low, right around, what is this? Right around 136.5. No, 138.5. Okay, so we didn't quite hit 137 support yet. Instead, it just broke 145, 140.5, and then started consolidating from there. Right, which is all right. I mean, this is a huge volume move. So normally, if you see a huge fall off like this, you'll see a pretty dramatic pullback. And we just haven't seen any bullish volume yet. Right, this is just being held at the low. So we have two scenarios. One likely scenario is that this is just going to reject off 38.2, reject off 140.5, and just tank straight to 135, right, or 137, right, where the bearish pressure isn't done yet, makes its move, pushes us down. There could be a good trade there. Okay, and this one's marked up for, it should be a whole number. Let me just do that real quick. Okay, so we're risking 85, looking to get 325, right, which comes out to be just below a 4-to-1, so 3.82 to 1, not bad. The other scenario is that it goes for a deeper retrace. Now this can pull back to 61.8, it could pull back to 145 and then reverse and go back to bearish. So that's kind of concerning. So we're going to be careful. We're really going to look for 140.5 reactions. If we do break above, similar to how we covered on, what was it, AU, there could be a nice little counter trend trade here, right? Applying the same method where we could drop down to the 1 hour. And then we're looking for a 1 hour trend to present itself. And then that's essentially going to represent the 4 hour retrace back up to 145. Right. And it would look just like this secondary orange scenario. And then you would slap the long tool on it. Just like that. And it's pretty damn close actually to the same specs of this trade. Right, where we'll be risking around 85 some odd for just over 320. So yeah, either way this goes, there is some potential. We'll really take a keen eye to identify which way it's going to go, because either one could happen pretty quick once the conviction does step in. But yeah, I mean, decent scenario either way. But yeah, UJ is still at the bottom of my watch list just because it's not like perfect setups. Although it does offer a little bit, a little bit of something. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about UJ. Drop it in chat. Let's keep moving though. EJ's next. Let's see what we got. Zoom out. Same method. Daily time frame. And what's the overall trend? All right, here we go. So back in March, right? No coincidence. Obviously, March was a hell of a month. We saw a rally from there. Higher high, higher low, higher high here, higher low here, right? We came back up, touched the high, and then we broke this higher low. So we actually went bearish for a short period of time once we took out this higher low. So we got a lower low, then a lower high, then a lower low, lower high. Then we broke the lower high with this rally, right? Rally to a new high. So a higher high right there, followed by a higher low, retest of this broken zone. Perfect. Rally to a new high. And now we're in higher low territory again. So we're back to bullish. So essentially bullish, bearish here, back to bullish. Okay, hopefully you guys follow that. Let me know again if you have any questions. I'll gladly cover it in more detail, but let's keep moving to the 4 hour. Okay, so we're at the high. So 144 is kind of our make or break zone. This is where we broke above, got some higher lows on the 4 hour, and then we've been bouncing off this zone ever since. So 144 is the key zone. Looking for breaks or bounces going forward. As price action is obviously near this zone, this becomes the most important zone to us, right? Because that's where we're looking for some sort of reaction to happen next, right? So what are the likely scenarios? Everything we've covered so far in this chart suggests that EJ is bullish, right? But I'm seeing lower high, and price action keeps getting smacked into 144. So to me, something on this chart says that this is very likely that it's going to drop. And we're ready if it does, right? If it breaks 144, we're looking for the lower low, looking for the confirmed lower high, and then we're shorting the hell out of it if it does play out that way, right? Very clear break and retest would be very nice to see. And yeah, we have quite a big distance to cover. I mean, we can target 138 because if we zoom out, this is where we've been bouncing off before. There's just been so much volume that these are where the established zones are, right? So kind of wild opportunity that we're seeing here, right? But what's the trade look like? We'll be risking around 150 roughly. Again, it'll change. And we're targeting around 550. So this is a massive trade, right? Well over 3.5 to 1. But yeah, just wait for that to play out. Right. I mean, if this continues to, let's do this, for example. So let's say this week is no volume and we just get essentially a copy of what we just saw. So we just move sideways a little bit more, right? Where this is this week's price action, let's pretend. This trade is still valid, right? It just carries over into the next week because we didn't go anywhere. Price action is still at support, still looking for either a break or bounce, and then we'll play it as it lies, right? So that's what I'm assuming it most likely is going to happen this week if we don't see one of these trade scenarios play out. That will just flatline, right? But let's cover this bullish option because we didn't talk about that yet. So we're consolidating now. It also is very likely that we just continue to do what we've been doing since mid-October, right? Just bounce between 148 and 144. So we could see a rally back up to 148. If that happens, I mean, it's up to you. I wouldn't trade this. If that does start to happen, I'm just going to push this at like to the bottom of my watch list. But if you did want to identify, a 1 hour bullish trend, by all means, you could target back up to 148. But me personally, if this does happen, I'll just look for a break or bounce from 148 once we get there. Right? I'm in no rush. I don't really care. Doesn't matter. If this doesn't play out, I'll have something else like a trade that is playing out. So yeah, that's EJ. Okay. Let's push over to gold, the very last asset that I'm going to analyze for you guys, and then I'm going to pass it off to Angelo. So you guys know the method by now, hopefully. Let's zoom out to the daily and see what's going on. All right. So I know personally, since we broke 1920, we've been bearish, and that was over here in March again, right? So we started tanking, started seeing some lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, really steady downtrend. We got a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Now we're at the low. We were at the low over here, just kind of consolidating, seeing some choppy price action until we saw a huge rally where we took out this minor level here, and then ultimately this lower high here on the daily time frame. So gold is looking more bullish once again. I definitely need to see structure now to confirm that on the daily. But yeah, definitely looking bullish. That's a huge rally that kind of took out a lot of key zones, right? Just for some perspective here, guys, we rallied almost 10%. So gold, if you guys have any gold in your house in the last, when was this? Since the beginning of November to now, you've appreciated 10% on your gold, roughly, right? That's pretty nuts. That's a lot of movement, right? A lot of money coming into this commodity here. So pushed up, just need to see structure. We need to identify if this trend is going to stick or not. Okay, so we went from bearish, looking newly bullish. Let's get more info on the 4-hour and square this up here. All right, so look at this rally, right? No joke. This thing is substantial. Big ass rally. All right, so let's see where the launch point was 1630. Launched us from there all the way up to just shy of 1800. Pretty much to the pip, hit 1785, which is fine. We threw a fib on it, right? We measured this rally, and we brought our fib levels to our attention, our reversal levels, our key levels, 38.2, 61.8. So we need to hit one of these two levels to confirm structure, and then look for conviction to then enter long on, right? So obviously this could pull back quite a bit. In a perfect world, I would like to see 61.8 hit, as well as 1675. This is a really nice confluence area. Just like here, let me make this gold, right? That's the trigger point. We're looking to enter somewhere in here. And this is, again, really nice confluence area. Saw a huge rally. Would probably like to see that type of volume on the pullback and then continuation to the upside. So we really got to see, how this reacts this week. But similar to the other pairs we just covered, I know someone is screaming on the chart, head and shoulders, head and shoulders. Well, you're right. It's looking like a head and shoulders. But either way, even if it's not the pattern itself, this is clearly a reversal, right? You're seeing price action go up in a pretty steady trend, right? Where it's just chugging higher. We flatlined. We got 3 tops there. Then it started breaking lower. So there's some minor trend changes in there that are sending this back down, right? And we're going to start taking out these support levels and changing the higher time frame trends as this comes down. So with that, you're looking for a change of the 1 hour, 30-minute trend that you can capitalize on and apply pretty much the same concepts that we're applying on the higher time frame, where you're looking for a break or bounce. And then you're entering specifically on lower highs, right? If you're shorting, you're entering on lower highs. That's where the highest probability trades are. If you're buying, you're looking to enter on higher lows. That's where the highest probability trades are. It's just kind of how it is. So here we are. Let's just mark this up real quick. This could be, whoops, that's not the right tool. This could be a nice little short-term intraday trade, catching this retracement. Okay, and look at that. Pretty good risk to reward. So based on these parameters, let's just square it up, because I don't want to bullshit this. Let's do that. We'll do 650 for 1500. There you go. That's reasonable, right? So just over 4 to 1, right? So you'll catch 4% on the downside if price action is willing, and then we'll catch 4% to the upside on that 4-hour higher low that we're looking for, or daily higher low that we're looking for, right? Because this is the daily move that we're trying to confirm. So we'll see. We will see, but we definitely got some decent analysis this week. Quick recap, covered DXY. Oh, it's going. Look at that. We're looking for the break right now. Looking like it's going to pop. So covered DXY, AU, AJ, UJ, EJ, and gold. And before I pass this off to Angelo, just want to remind you guys that these are live charts. So if you come over to TradingView, these links are all posted in our Discord and Telegram, and you can open them up. They're free. Use it to your advantage. You can play these forward, see how price action is, kind of played out according to our analysis, right? Right. So just another tool, another free tool you guys could use. But yeah, I'm gonna pass it off to Angelo. That's all I got for you guys. Thanks.
Nice work. Good stuff.
Thank you. Thank you.
Whatever I can do to help.
Oh, fucking Siri.
Oh, I thought that was the AI, bro.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm about to hop on. So if you guys got any questions, feel free to post up in the chat. Nick obviously just went through a lot. Solid half-hour sesh going through. People had a few comments in there. Skeptical on the gold being bullish because the dollar has to dump.
Yeah.
And then another person said, I don't think the dollar is going to dump just yet. So we've got some conflicting views in there.
I like it though. That's good. Stand your ground, you know. That's whatever your analysis is the one that you should go with. What do they tell you on a test, right? Never change your first answer, right?
I guess
Something like
that's what they say.
On a Scantron or some shit. Anyway,
Does anyone trade GJ? Yeah, I'm gonna go through GJ. We're just gonna get started with DXY again. So as we mentioned earlier in the call, we didn't have much movement last week, just kind of consolidated for the whole week. Formed some sort of reversal candle right here. Nothing too convicting. We still really do have to hit more in this area, the 104 or 105 area, kind of wick down into there, but definitely still have some room to potentially push into this downward area right there. Overall, DXY, as we know, has been bullish for quite some time. And then we've had this retracement here, but we still have this previous higher low that formed at this level and the support level. So we could see DXY have some sort of bounce effect off of this area right here. So let's just be mindful of that. Coming down to the 4 hour, it does look like this thing is just starting to consolidate at the bottom here. Obviously, we're at the top of this consolidation right now. But this could be some sort of continuational pattern that's going on right here. Obviously, if we start to see more higher lows form and this thing start to move to the upside, we're going to see something like this. But it is more likely that it's going to continue in this downtrend and reach this level down here. Probably be something more like a break of the support area, retest, and then a touchdown into there. And then this is when we could see the reversal. So something like this. And then price ends up breaking out and coming back to the upside, right? So yeah, don't want to get too ahead of ourselves with being bullish on DXY. Definitely a lot of sellers in the market. Right now you can see based on these just huge moves down. So I would personally just want to wait until we find kind of more liquidity in a zone. And I like to use these red zones that I have marked. As you guys know, who've been on the call several times. Let's see. So yeah, let's keep this in mind. DXY, some potential downside movement here could be in store for this week. So that being said, let's head over to NZD USD. Let's hop up to a higher time frame. So coming up on the weekly, we went over this last week. So last week, we talked about how NZD USD on the weekly is right where we really want it to be. We're at this potential weekly lower high point. Weekly is in a clear downtrend, and we push all the way up. We're at a major resistance level. We're at a previous lower low point right here. So previous level support. And last week we started to form some sort of reversal, right? We started to slow up at this level. Nothing with too much conviction yet, but this is what we want to see. We want to always try to swing when the weekly and the 4 hour line up. So coming to the 4 hour, this thing still is bullish. So we had said last week that we wanted to see something more similar to this, where we have another higher low form comes up, and then we ended up breaking some structure and breaking the trend and then going to the downside. This is really where we would want to enter this, right in this area. So as you could see here, what I'm going to monitor, we're forming some sort of double top right now. What I would want to monitor is these higher low points. So I would not short this. Like the earliest that I would short this right now is if we saw a break of support here and then a retest, right? But we have, this thing has been bullish, has a very bullish trend going on. So I imagine we're going to see a bit more kind of sideways movement here, which is completely fine. So like we looked at before, if the dollar does continue to push to the downside, could see NU with another leg up and then start to consolidate and then break down. But I do believe at some point we're going to see a big move from the from NZD USD to the downside. But there's just no trade on it for now. We're just forecasting this idea. So if you guys are trading NZD USD, screenshot this, look at this on the video after we post it up on YouTube. This is a pretty good forecast for what's to come on NZD USD, and we'll keep up with this as we go. So I'm not going to change much from last week. Again, I'm just going to be pretty patient on this. If we do see some rejection, like on the support level here, you could buy this, but I just know in the back of my mind, overall, I want to do a swing trade where the 4-hour and the weekly line up, and this starts to break down. So I'm just going to wait on that. So USD CAD, this one last week, let's come up to the weekly and see where we're at. So NZD USD CAD, or NZD USD CAD last week, we obviously moved down from our resistance level. Let's take this off. We moved down, we had this bearish engulfing, we had the retest, we pushed, right? So I was looking for a continuation of this bearish trend because of all these sellers that stepped in. Coming down to the 4-hour, last week we were just trying to line up multiple confluences here. So we had our trend line, we had our previous lower low point, right? So we were kind of waiting to see what is price going to do. What was last week? We were looking at this right here. So this is when we were on the Sunday market blitz. We'll go forward one more candle. This is when we were on last week's call, and I was saying if price comes up into this area, this is where we look for the lower high point to form. As you could see, last week we ended up coming up into this area. We had a bearish engulfing, so that was definitely the entry signal there. And then we actually retraced, so now we're retesting this previous point. If you're currently in this trade, if price does break this level, if we confirm above here, obviously, you know, this is not going to be a trade that's going to end up being a winner. We do have stops kind of in a decent area above the 61.8. There's some room here. There's still some opportunity for rejection that could happen. Going back to the dollar, right? We had just mapped out that the dollar could push up a little bit more, which would mean that this thing might push into our stop loss before actually continuing with the overall trend. If that does happen, there would be other areas that we'd look to actually enter on this. We have a huge level up here. I'm just going to mark it. This. We definitely have a huge level in this area. It was previous support, previous resistance. So if price does manage to come up to this area, we could actually take another entry, but obviously we're going to have to wait and just kind of see what happens. So would I hop in on this trade at this point? No, I would definitely wait to see if it rejects this area one more time. If it does, you know, decent trade to get in on, because again, looking at this weekly time frame, I'm just trying to continue this movement down into the 1.3 area. That's kind of the next major level of support. You can see we're kind of hitting this previous support, this wick right here on the weekly. It's obviously significant. So we're kind of bouncing back. You know, could price come all the way back up to retest a more serious resistance zone? Sure. But I just want to try to catch this thing as it continues to the downside, and then any sort of major support moves or buy moves, I'm not really trying to get it into until we do get down deeper into the red zone. So that's USD CAD. Again, be careful on this one. Let's see how it plays out over the next few hours. Next one we're going to look at is going to be GU. So GU last week, we just had said that it's going to continue to be bullish. Going into the week, we had this huge bullish engulfing candle, and we had our red zone marked up here. And this red zone definitely was a significant area. Looking at support, some resistance there. So again, this red area definitely significant. And as you could see, coming down to the 4-hour, we were up here right when the market opened. This was a good area to re-enter at. Obviously didn't make it down into that area. But regardless, it did end up pushing into the red zone. See how it impulsed into this area. So I actually like how that did end up playing out. So what we want to look for now, let's just take this off, clear things up a little bit more, take this off. If we're looking for price to actually have this reversal and then come back towards the downside and continue with this overall weekly trend, because we're always just trying to get the weekly and the 4-hour time frame to line up. We would have to see something similar to this. So right now, this is not the best pattern in the world, but we can always use head and shoulders pattern. So we have not the best head and shoulders pattern. We kind of have two right shoulders here, but could this potentially break this neckline here? And then we look for some sort of sell right off of the break right there down into this level. Sure, this definitely correlates a bit differently than the other two pairs that we just looked at, because this would mean that we're expecting the dollar to actually continue to accelerate to the upside. So from a TA standpoint, this lines up more with the dollar continuing to trend to the upside, versus the other pairs we're anticipating the dollar to actually go to the downside. So bit of a different idea. Always good to have multiple different ideas in the market. I personally wouldn't really look for buys on this, considering we have this massive resistance level in this area. This would be the area you'd look for a buy right here, like on the retest of this neckline, retest of support right there, and then you'd kind of hold it into this 121, 1205 area. Personally, not going to look for buys. More going to be looking to actually sell this. So I'm looking more for something like this. But again, just comes down to what do you believe the dollar is going to do, right? What do you think this week is going to happen with the dollar? We obviously have, let's see, we have coming out new home sales, FOMC minutes. That's coming out on Wednesday. So we're gonna definitely have some news on Wednesday coming out. I don't believe it'll drive the market too much. Don't believe there's gonna be a lot of volatility in it quite yet. And with that being the case, this could just continue to push, kind of trend up a little bit, or like hang down into this area, but not make any significant moves, considering we're not anticipating a ton of volume going into the week. So GJ, we had said last week, let's just shift up to the weekly time frame. So I just want to reiterate with GJ where we're at weekly time frame. You can clearly see it's bullish. And then pretty much last week, so let's just go back. Take this off. So last week we were just at a support level, right? Like, don't read into this too much. Like, a lot of people would just be like, oh, sell, sell, sell. But if you look at the weekly time frame, we talked about this last week. This was actually a decent area to buy, right? Because we're retesting support. We're in an overall bullish trend. We're always looking to get in at the higher low points, which is right where we're at. On the 4-hour, this is how we forecasted it. So we were pretty much just looking at, let's take this off. The trend was bearish, right? It was trending to the downside. So in order for us to actually get in on this, we would just want to see a breakout, retest, then we would take buys. That's clearly what we saw here. We broke the trend line right there. We had some confirmation with this wick. We had this bullish engulfing. So we could see this continue to the upside. We have a bullish engulfing that just happened. This isn't the strongest push, right? But if we just wait and look for the next higher low point, definitely a decent idea to take buys on GJ. Again, I would not sell this thing at this point until now that we've broken that trend. I wouldn't sell anything on this unless we break out of this little uptrend that's going on. Like this is how I would sell, and then this is how I would buy. So the area that's going to be very important to wait for is going to be this red zone right here. We'll wait and see what happens with GJ in this area. If you guys have any ideas when it comes to GJ, feel free to drop in the chat. But definitely think that GJ has an opportunity for this week. It's probably one of the only pairs going over NZD, UCAD. We're kind of already in GU. If you want to buy it, could see an opportunity potentially. But GJ might be one of the pairs that we see an actual opportunity on this week, at least according to my analysis. Because remember, we're always just trying to get the weekly and the 4 hour to line up. This is starting to line up. We have a break of trend, and it's trending now to the upside. So let's see what happens with GJ. Let's cover last NAS 100. As you could see, we didn't have a ton of movement last week. We were just anticipating head and shoulders at the top here, and then just a move to the downside. So coming up to the weekly, played out pretty well. We were at the resistance level at 11,900, 1,200 area. This thing ended up forming a pin bar up here, some sort of reversal candle. So the trend overall is bearish, right? And then we're just trying to get the weekly to line up with the 4 hour. So looking at the 4 hour, clearly this thing has shifted from an uptrend into a downtrend. So I'm not going to look for any sort of buys until we actually reverse this trend that's going on right now. When would I look to sell this? I'm definitely looking to sell at all areas where we're forming lower highs. So if we wanted to sell literally right now, we could sell. If we wanted to sell after it breaks the support here and retest, we could sell in that area. So NAS 100 is definitely an interesting pair for this week. If you wanted to be really conservative, throw your stops up here. It's still 2-1 at that point, but you could just squeeze it, and then you're getting a pretty good risk reward there. And if you want to get really crazy with it, you come down to the 30-minute, and you could see that the trend bullish now is turning to be bearish. And if you're not sure, just go ahead, hide this. Does this look like a uptrend shift to a downtrend? If you were just doing your homework, yeah, looks like a break of trend there. So interesting trade to take for this week. NAS 100. Feel free to drop any ideas that you have. Yeah, looks like a decent sell opportunity, right? Everything's lining up, break here. So we'll see if the volume's there. Again, gonna be a very low volume week. Thursday, Thanksgiving, banks are gonna be closed in the US. Wednesday, everyone's gonna be taking off. So just be mindful that this week not much is gonna go on. Last but not least, we're gonna go over our good old friend BTC. So BTC,
We're not friends anymore, actually.
yeah, this is the X firm here.
Oh my
BTC.
God.
So versus scaling. So this one obviously lost ton of value. Lost about 20% 2 weeks ago. Last week didn't move at all. We should expect more downward movement. So if you guys are waiting to get in on BTC, please just wait until price comes into this area, the 12 area. That's really the next area that we should be looking to get into buys. Dollar cost averaging in, could bounce up, look for resistance, and then move back to the downside. But that's pretty much where we're at with BTC. Obviously, a ton of news coming out with everything going on with FTX. And everything like that. Probably a lot of people shorting BTC at this point. You could see this news feed is just filled with FTX stuff because I think like 130 companies that they were involved with filed for bankruptcy now. So this, is just a huge collapse. So we're gonna still see the repercussions of everything that went on with FTX, it seems, over the next couple weeks. I'm just reading everything online similar to you guys and following it. And very much looks like we're gonna keep going to the downside here, hit 12K, 11K. So be ready, buy in dollar cost average into BTC, and we'll kind of see where we end up. BTC is not done falling. Yeah, Sam, BTC is going to keep going to the downside. So definitely be ready. So that's pretty much all the analysis for the week. If you guys are trading the challenges with the funded trader, best of luck. We're going to be doing an announcement later in the week for Black Friday, so look out for that. We announced the giveaway, so we're giving away a Tesla plus $20,000 cash. So anybody that wants to win, go to the Funded Trader Discord, go to giveaways. All the details are posted in there. Forex League, we're gonna have some updates for that this week as well. I'll be posting on the Instagram story to keep you guys updated on what's going on with that. But anybody that's in there that's taking challenges this week, the Forex League challenge, best of luck to you guys, and we'll be back. We'll be back next week for the next blitz. So that's
Yeah.
pretty much it.
Good luck with the week, guys. Enjoy. Happy holidays if you celebrate. And we'll see you guys soon.
Yeah, and we'll pick the winner for this giveaway. I'll go on the Instagram, select somebody that reposted us, and then I'll post it up into Discord. And yeah, no problem. Glad you guys enjoyed the analysis as always, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace, guys.